Microphone, that's what we needed. Okay. Hi everyone, I've seen a few comments come through. And I see Stephanie is here, and Christina and Megan and Angel and Shannon. So that's awesome. If you are watching a replay, microphone, that's what we needed. Hi everyone. I somehow always forget to turn off the volume on my phone every time I do this. I guess I'm out of practice anyway. Anyway, if you are watching the replay, make sure that you let me know in the comments. I still want to chat with you even if you're not here live. And then obviously if you're here live, feel free to comment as we go along. And I will respond to comments as best I can. Just so you know, I can see comments. I can see who's commenting if you're on the Facebook page. If you're in the Mumbles and Things group, I might not be able to see your name. So if you want me to be able to see your name, make sure you go to the link in the video. It should be in the description. If it's not, I'll have to look for it, and maybe we'll do that next time. But yeah, just know that I might not know who you are, and I'll try to respond to you anyway. Okay, so we are talking about practicing magic in alignment with each of the 8 main moon phases today. So I guess let's get started. All those things are set up. I can see comments coming through. So I think everything is working. And I have my tea, so that's important. But if you don't know me, my name is Maggie. I am the head witchstress at Mumbles Academy, and I am the creator of Mumbles and Things blog. My mission is to help witches to feel more connected with their intuitive power so that they can share their gifts with the world, and in doing so, we can raise global consciousness together. So that's what I want to do with these live videos, with my blog posts, and with the Academy. And we have workshops, ebooks, e-courses, all sorts of things Mumbles and Things offers. And these are provided as resources and to help us to build our witchcraft community, to support each other. And it is a community of experienced and new witches all together. So that is important to have both experienced and new witches together. Okay, so we're going to get started with this topic. And make sure you stay till the end because I have a gift for you. And we'll talk about each of the 8 moon phases. So we can honor the moon for just by observing how she changes throughout one lunar cycle, which lasts about between 28 and 29 days. And as we observe these changes, we can also observe how we are changing. And each of us is unique, so we have different ways that we change throughout the cycle. But it's interesting to track that, to see how you're changing with the moon. But we'll start with the new moon. Just seeing some comments come in. Want to make sure I'm not missing anybody. Hi, Betty. Hi, Danielle. Hi, Stephanie, another Stephanie. Hi, Patty. Hi, Bex. Hi, Shannon. That's my mother-in-law. Okay, so we're going to start with the new moon, which is pretty common to begin with the new moon. This is when the sky is empty of any celestial light, and so this is a blank slate, and you can start new projects, you can start new activities. This is when you want to make wishes and set goals and set your intentions for a lunar cycle. And make sure that at this point your intentions are super clear, super specific. It's better to say, I want a job working with animals in 3 months than to say, I just want a new job. That could lead you anywhere. That could lead you somewhere where you don't want to go. It's better to say, I want enough money to cover my bills, to put some in savings, and to buy something nice for myself than it is to say I want more money. Because if you just say I want more money, you might find yourself drowning in pennies, which might not be what you want either. Although if you're drowning in pennies, that's probably a lot of pennies, and it would add up to something valuable. But you know what I mean. So when at the new moon, magic should be aligned with these new beginnings, specifically whatever your intention is. So if you are looking for a new job, then magic to help you to start the new job, to find success in that project. And also magic for bringing patience, because the lunar cycle is about a month, and that can be a long period of time to wait for something to arrive in your awareness. And it's also, magic during this time is you're at the beginning of a change or a transformation, so helping you to prepare for that as well can be really helpful. And some witches find the new moon energy to be a really good time to connect with your own energy. So what your energy feels like. And so some witches find this to be a really good time for divination, because you can connect with the divinity that's inside of you rather than like the external divinity of this world. So you might want to see how that changes for you throughout a lunar cycle, how messages arrive to you by practicing divination. All right, I'm seeing some more comments. Hi, Marilyn. Hi, Amy. All right, so the next phase is the waxing crescent, which is just slightly bigger. It's still not halfway full, but it is a little, you can see a sliver of the moon. It's the curve shape. And during this phase, it's time to take actual steps toward your intention. So basically for a full lunar cycle, you're focusing on one intention, one goal. And so the waxing crescent is where you take that first step and you deepen your resolve and you make a commitment to continuing to work towards that dream. So magic here is good pretty much the entire waxing phase as the moon is getting bigger. You want to do like growth, increasing, bringing things to you, that kind of magic aligned with your intention. So growth and abundance are good at the waxing crescent. Strength to help you to be more aligned with your intention, excuse me. So again, if you want a new job, then maybe spells that will help you to be better at interviewing or make the search easier. Those initial stages of that job search, you might want to do spells that are aligned with helping you with those initial stages. So, hi Christina, you're new to this. Well, I hope this gives you a little bit of a beginning steps. And hi Mary Lou. So yeah, we are at the waxing crescent, and then when we get to the first quarter, that's when the moon looks like it's cut in half, or if you can just see the half circle of the moon. And this is about a week into the cycle. You can, if you divide that 28-day period into 4 quarters, the first quarter moon marks the first quarter. That makes sense, right? So this is about 7 days in, 28 divided by 4. You can do that math, but this is a week after the new moon, and since it's crossing from less than half into more than half, this is kind of a threshold. And so a lot of times this is, you're going to want to face those obstacles that might be in your way and overcome them. Really just move past them more than anything. And you're going to want to nurture your dreams. Make sure that you are still committed to that goal and you're nurturing it. You know, a week later, you might start to lose some steam from that initial like push at the new moon. So you want to make sure that you're still committed at the first quarter. And so again, continuing to grow, so growth magic, and anything that will help you to get past those challenges. Those kinds of spells would be beneficial. So whatever the obstacle is, maybe it could be any issue. It could be it could be still aligned. If we talk about having a hard time finding a job, maybe that's the obstacle. You're not finding what you need, so doing a spell that will help you get past that blockage. And then since it's a half moon, again, it's also about balance, threshold balance. So you want to make sure that whatever you're focusing on, you only have so much to give and so much energy to focus on. So as you're focusing on this specific intention, you might find that you are neglecting other parts of your life, and that's okay. That sometimes happens, and that's part of just living a life. But you want to make sure that those things aren't important to you, and that you give them a little bit of attention as well through balance. So, all right. Then we move into the greater than half of the moon phase, which is called the waxing gibbous, as the moon is still growing towards full. And during this time, you want to, some people, the full moon is a really important phase. The new moon, they're all important for their own reasons. The waxing gibbous I find to be one of kind of neglected phase, because at this point, you're almost 2 weeks into the cycle, and you're so close to that harvest point of the full moon where you can celebrate your achievements and whatever is happening that's really good in your life. But sometimes, it's hard to maintain excitement for that whole time. So I think the waxing gibbous is a really good time to raise your energy and show that you're excited for this, and practice patience as well. Bring patience into your life. But trusting that things happen in the perfect time and in the perfect way, reminding yourself of that at the waxing gibbous, and then making sure that you're still excited for what's coming. So spells for confidence in your intention, for becoming more confident in it, abundance spells, empowerment, raising your energy, increasing whatever you need for your intention to succeed. And again, the full moon is coming next, so that's a really important phase, but just making sure that you have this celebratory anticipation feeling. Sometimes that's like, I don't know, let me think about what I'm trying to say. The anticipation of having what you want can be a stronger feeling than actually getting what you want. So holding on to that feeling of like, I'm so excited, I'm about to get what I want. And to not let yourself get discouraged before the harvest actually happens. Because, you know, if you start to doubt or if you start to feel discouraged, then you might lose out. So you want to make sure that you're holding on to those feelings of excitement and joy. And then we get to the full moon, which is all about celebration, gratitude, you know, joyfulness, celebrating your blessings, everything that you have in your life that brings you joy and makes you feel proud. These, it might not be aligned with your intention too. Sometimes full moons bring you what you set as an intention in previous cycles, because some intentions take longer than just a single cycle to manifest. So the full moon might be, you might be just celebrating something else. So it's really important to just make even a list of everything that you're grateful for at the full moon. And then it's also a transition time. So the new moon marks changing from waning to waxing, and the full moon marks transition from waxing to waning, growing bigger to growing smaller. And so I think of the full moon, you know, it's a very celebratory time, but it's also, if you think of like a party, you're having fun in the moment. If you're living mindfully, you're paying attention to how excited you are and how happy you are in this moment. But there's always that little inkling of like, oh, but this has to end. The celebration time has to end, and we go into a time of decompressing and slowing down and reflecting. And that's the same with the moon, that you're having this big moment of excitement, but there's also that reminder that you are going to be decreasing soon. So thinking about that transition as you prepare for the waning phases. And I mentioned that the new moon is a good time for divination because it's a good way to connect with your own inner voice. And the full moon is also a really good time for divination. Actually, all the phases are a good time for divination, and it would be beneficial to practice divination throughout the lunar cycle, but and see how it changes for each of the phases. But at the full moon, you know, as the light grows in the moon, it's almost as if it's revealing something to you. So at the full moon, there's this big reveal, and you'll have so many insights that come forward. The moon is associated with our subconscious and our the collective unconscious. You know, the moon is a symbol for in many different cultures around the world. And it's really important to humans in general. So it connects us all, and that's what the collective unconscious is. And so as the moon is growing, as I said, you know, you're getting some sort of realization that comes forth. And so at the full moon, a lot of people experience like headaches and weirdness, weird feelings. There's studies in hospitals and bartenders and all sorts of people have all kinds of stories about how weird people get at the full moon. And I think it's because at this point, we have so many things that are being revealed to us that we don't have a way to let them flow or to see or to, you know, listen to this message. So the full moon is a good time for meditation and using tarot or using something that helps you to connect with your intuition, like automatic writing or tools like this and techniques like this to help you just let that wisdom flow out of you and see what comes forth. And it might relieve headaches as well. So you might want to try that if you're one of those people who gets headaches at the full moon. So then we have the waning gibbous, which is, you know, the moon is getting smaller. It's still greater than half. It's still a very bright moon. So this is a good time for, again, thinking about all those blessings and everything that you're thankful for, and also for reflecting on any insights that came forth at the full moon. So holding on to the energy of the full moon, holding on to the wisdom of the full moon, and really taking that into you so that you can continue to learn from it and reflect on it, and to store that for when you need it later. So this is a good time to do magic for healing and for community building and honoring your loved ones, whether they have passed or are still alive. Sharing, and this is also a good time to share those successes and accomplishments and wisdom with other people. So anything you've learned at the full moon, this is a good time to share it with other people. Then we have the last quarter, which is half the moon again, but on the other side this time. So it's the other half. And just like the first quarter, it's a balance, it's a threshold because it's half of the circle. So the way I think about the two quarters, both of them is about obstacles and overcoming them because you're crossing a threshold again. But at the first quarter, if you think about the whole lunar cycle as like a track for running, the first half, you get halfway around the track, you're going over the first quarter moon, and those obstacles I like to think of as like hurdles, and you just jump over them. And you keep going because you've built up so much momentum from your new moon energy. You're really excited about this intention. You're ready to get going. You have started taking actions, and you get to the first quarter and you don't want to stop. So you want to keep using that momentum to move forward. So you recognize them, you try to find a way over them, and you keep pushing forward. But then when you get to the other half, the waning half of the cycle, you encounter obstacles again, and they may be the same ones, they may be different. But this time you want to try to figure out a way to remove them from your path so that anytime you go around the circle again, you won't have those obstacles anymore. So at the last quarter, you're removing the obstacles through any sort of shadow work or self-care or removing limiting beliefs and replacing them with empowering beliefs. Whatever you do to remove obstacles, that's what you want to do at the last quarter, so that you won't have to face them again. And also at this time, again, balance, as I mentioned, anything that you might have been neglecting while you've been focusing on your intention, this is a good time to bring balance back in and see how you can preserve those neglected areas. Facing confrontations as well, things that you might have been avoiding to help you get through your intentions. This is a good time to face them and move past them. Release spells, banishment during the waning half. Anytime you can do banishing, releasing, or anything to push you away, decreasing, push things away, not you. So I find that as the moon gets smaller and smaller, banishment gets more and more powerful. So you might wait until waning crescent moon for banishment, but that's my experience, and yours might be different. So experimentation is always important. And then we have the waning crescent moon, which is a good time to just think about what you have and make it better. So not really for starting new things, that's what you do at the new moon, but maybe polishing up skills that you already possess, and looking at anything that you've taken in throughout this whole cycle, because you're almost at the end at the waning crescent. So you've brought some things in, and you might have pushed some things away, and this results in changes in you. So reflecting on those transformations and those changes, and figuring out what that means to you as you move into the dark moon, which we'll talk about in a second. But the waning crescent is good for magic at this time, is good for anything that will help you with reflecting. So thinking about those insights that you've learned, preparing for endings is a good thing to do, and then banishing spells, as I mentioned. And then at the dark moon, this isn't something that all witches follow. Some witches just talk about those 8 that I've already mentioned. The dark moon is kind of, in my opinion, like a time outside of time. And so this is where you want to think about what you want to bring into the next cycle and what you want to leave behind in the previous cycle. Whatever is not working, you want to leave that behind, recycle it or throw it away. And anything that you did enjoy and liked and what is working for you, you want to bring that with you. So start thinking about your new intention for the next new moon cycle. And again, some witches don't follow that there is a dark moon, and the things that I'm talking about right now are maybe more aligned with the waxing crescent, or the waning crescent, excuse me. So if you don't want to use the dark moon, then that's okay. Just everything I'm saying goes with the waning crescent. But this period of the dark moon is about 2 to 3 days, and it just occurs right before that sliver of a new moon appears again, and the new moon is actually like a very small crescent. But some witches treat this dark moon time as like a time completely away from magic, no magic. Some will use no magic, but will treat it as a time for learning. So learning about history, new practices, new theories, etc. And then I like to use this time to take a step away from the intention. You know, you spend this whole cycle thinking about that specific goal. And so it's nice to take just a break from it and to not have to think about it. So that's kind of what I use it for. And then for, again, deciding what I want to bring forward and what I want to leave behind. So like I said, it's like a time outside of time. And then the cycle starts over again with the new moon. And as I mentioned, these cycles, sometimes your intentions will take a little bit longer than just a single lunar cycle to manifest. And you might have multiple projects going at the same time, multiple goals, and that's cool. Don't spread yourself too thin. Don't spread your focus over too many intentions. Probably like 2 or 3 is the max that you'd want to focus on. And to remember to be patient. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about, hi Gloriana, is that I like to also bring in the zodiac signs. And so throughout one single year, focusing on the phase that the new moon is in and trying to align my intention with what that energy is. And this gives, to me, this feels like a well-rounded way to hit every area of my life in a single year. So you might want to think about doing that. That's how I teach in the moon circle. The new moon each month is in a different zodiac sign throughout the year. And so that's just how I like to do it. So like Capricorn is ambitious and public life focused. So career is a good thing to focus on during the Capricorn new moon season. Aquarius is all about dreaming big. So thinking about things that really need any intention that you need to dream big about, that is when you want to do it. Your Pisces is about psychic energy, dreams, the dream world, and all that kind of stuff. So if you want to focus on developing that part of you during that lunar cycle, that's a good idea. And then Aries is about motivation and drive, so pursuing your passion or anything that really needs passion to get going. Taurus is about self-worth and the worth of the value of things, so financial issues and things like that, or how you value yourself. Gemini is about communication and flexibility, and learning in general. So any type of intention that has to do with that kind of energy is good for them. Cancer is about your family life and finding security and protection. Leo, having fun, being creative, embracing the child inside, and being really proud of things. Virgo's about organization, finding routines, being healthy. Libra is about justice and fairness, seeking balance and focusing on partnership. Scorpio is about your sex life and learning about your limiting beliefs, and finding what's going on inside in your inner self, so shadow work and things like that. And then Sagittarius is about expanding your horizons and personal and spiritual growth and seeking wisdom beyond knowledge. So kind of figuring out that, adding different layers of association in with the lunar phase can be a way to really enhance your relationship with the moon. And that just gives you one framework, but there are tons of different ways that you can, connect with the moon in whatever way works for you. So this framework is one way, and it's not rigid. And any area of your life can really benefit from the energy of the zodiac. So even if that thing is not in its specific domain. But that is the end of that for today. So, oh, sorry, Glory. Well, I'm glad you're here. I hope you come back and watch the replay. You can see the beginning. But I mentioned a free gift at the beginning if you have been with me this whole time, and it is a moon journal PDF that you can download. You can print it out right on the actual page, or you can use it for your own journal and just use it as a template. But you can get it at www.maggiehazeman.com/moon journal, moon-journal. I will copy that link into the description because I just did that really badly. But basically, I think it's really important to track the moon and how it affects your life, and to do this for multiple cycles because you can start to see a pattern emerge for how your energy changes as the moon's energy changes. And if you can do it every day, that's really awesome. But if you can at least write something about what you did on a day, how you felt during each of these phases. Each phase lasts about 3 days, so that's a really good, if you can, every 3 days at least in the phase that we're in, you can write about what you did and your emotions. That can help you to figure out what your pattern is, how your energy changes. And this can be really beneficial for magic because you know when you need to rest and when you are really high energy and when you can do magic and things like that. So starting to track these things can be really helpful. So if you want that PDF, then you can definitely go to, I'll say it again, and this time I'll do better, www.maggiehazeman.com/moon-journal. And again, I will copy it into the description so that you can see it. And if you didn't see the beginning, again, go back and watch that. Thank you so much for hanging out with me this afternoon. It was very fun, and I appreciate you all taking the time. So I will see you next time. Bye!